Hello, everyone. I'm Stacey Abrams, and it is such an honor to be here with you all tonight. I'm not certain what's happening, but as we all know, in 2020, Zoom has a mind of its own. But I want to say thank you to my dear friend, Congressman Sanford Bishop. Robin did him justice in her introduction of him. And I want to point out that he was one of the first congressmen to reach out to me after I became the Democratic leader. That was a dark year for our party, but it was an extraordinary opportunity for me as the first woman to lead a party in the history of the state of Georgia, the first Black person to lead in the House, and certainly the first Black woman to hold that position. And it was Congressman Sanford Bishop who reached out, who helped me understand even more what needed to be done to serve his district, a part of Georgia that is desperately in need of good lawyers, good voices, and good leaders. But I'm here today to humbly and with great excitement accept the CLEO Award from Vernon Jordan. When I launched the New Georgia Project in 2014 to do voter registration, it came about because of work that I had done earlier. I became a voting rights advocate at the age of 17 at Spelman College. I'm the daughter of Robert and Carolyn Abrams, two civil rights activists who, as teenagers, were deeply involved in helping register Black voters in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. My father was arrested at the age of 14 for his work because he had the temerity to believe that when the Constitution gave the right to vote to Black people in Mississippi, that right should be made real. And so at the age of 14, he was part of an aggressive voter registration strategy, and unfortunately, he was arrested. We like to tease him that my mom was on the other side of Hattiesburg doing the exact same work. She just managed not to get caught. But what they raised me to understand, what has driven me for the last 30 years, is this fundamental understanding that the work we do with voting is deeply connected to the lives we lead as Americans, the lives we lead in a free republic and in a free democracy. My parents raised me to understand that even though we had less than many, we were the working poor, we still had an obligation to everyone to do our part every day. And so in 2013, I launched an organization called the New Georgia Project, whose responsibility was to travel through South Georgia, through the areas represented by the Honorable Sanford Bishop, reaching out to community members to encourage them to sign up for the Affordable Care Act. The ACA was a transformative law that was going to give access to healthcare to people of color and to Americans across the country, but in particular in this region of Georgia, where we had the highest poverty rate, the lowest insurance rates, and the deepest need. I started the New Georgia Project knocking on doors, hiring 65 folks from around that region to just explain what health insurance looked like, how to sign up, and why it mattered. But again and again, we ran into communities, into folks. A mother could sign up for the ACA, but her son could not because he made too little money. They needed Medicaid expansion and it was not available, and they wanted to know why. They assumed that it was an oversight on the part of President Obama with the Affordable Care Act. And I explained, no, this is a local issue. This is a decision being made by your state legislators, by your governor, and they need to hear from you that you feel left out, that you feel left behind. What I heard back in response was, well, who's my state representative? What does the governor do? These were not people who lacked civic engagement. These were people who'd been left out of the conversation and who despaired that they would ever be included. And so in the following year, I transformed the New Georgia Project from being in healthcare outreach to becoming an organization dedicated to registering the nearly 800,000 unregistered Black and brown people in the state of Georgia, 600,000 of whom are African American. But before I launched that project, I did my research. I wanted to know, when was the last time a massive voter registration effort had been undertaken in the state of Georgia at the scale that I envisioned? And the answer was, it was done by none other than Vernon Jordan. Vernon Jordan, a son of Georgia, understood in his time how critical it was to give people the keys to power that begins with having the right to vote. He understood that it was more than just getting someone's name on a piece of paper and their signature on a form. It was about informing them about their power and enlisting them in their own success. That you cannot demand that people become a part of a society. You have to give them a reason to join. I read again his biography, Vernon can read. I'd received it a decade before, but it had new relevance to me, new salience. And I read that book cover to cover, thinking again and again, how do we do this in a way that it honors the work that he had done, that honors the work of so many like Vernon Jordan, of lawyers who had fanned out across the state of Georgia in the 1960s and the early 70s, determined to give the power of the vote to Georgians, especially to Black Georgians. And so when we launched the voter registration effort called the New Georgia Project, we went to 149 out of 159 counties. We registered and collected forms from 87,000 Georgians of color in less than 4 months. And we soon ran into the buzzsaw of a Secretary of State who, in a conversation with his fellow Republicans, said, "Do you see what Stacey Abrams is doing? They're registering all these minorities. This could be trouble." I paraphrase him here, but his intention was clear. And soon thereafter, we faced a phalanx, a barrage of legal challenges. Not that we were doing something wrong, but that we were doing it wrong. And the reality was we were following the letter of the law. And as CLEO members, you understand how vital it is to hold the law accountable for justice. And so when he accused us of bad action, we returned it by saying, "You taught us how to do it." And it took several years, but we eventually were able to get every single one of our forms either processed or explained. It was through that process that we discovered the exact match system that was holding Black and brown voters hostage. The same system that in 2018 would hold 53,000 voter registration applications in stasis, denying them the right to vote because the Secretary of State had put in place an unconscionable rule called exact match. But it's because of the law that I understood at each moment, at each obstacle, that because of my lessons, because of what I learned, and because of the incredible attorneys working with me, that we could fight back, that we were no longer going to be kept away from power because the powerful didn't want us there. That is the lesson of Vernon Jordan. That is the lesson of CLEO. That no matter what the obstacles are, the law is our friend. The law can be our weapon to beat back wrong. The law can be the shield we use to protect those who do not know they need protection. When we were able to believe enough in our efforts to register those voters, we became part of a gauntlet of voter registration organizations that swept the state of Georgia. Good Laws decided that we could get registered using HAVA, effectively the Help America Vote Act, but it took more than just the opportunity to register. It took the responsibility to understand what registration could mean, and it took the enthusiasm, the energy, and the engagement of meeting people where they are and helping them understand that they could change the future. And in November of 2018, we saw that future rise up. In that year, we received more votes from Black voters than in any time in the state's history. But just a few days ago, that record got shattered. Because what Vernon Jordan understood, what CLEO understands, is that these metrics and these markers are simply on the path to progress. I am so proud that so many more showed up, that so many more showed out, that so many more believed in their power and their capacity to change the future, that they came to the ballot box and they declared that they will not be ignored. I am honored to receive this award because it stands as testament to the work that is being done, not simply by me, but by those I work in union with. That I'm a part of a network of attorneys. Although I wasn't a CLEO scholar, I know a lot of you, and I'm proud to be among you in this way. But it's also being a part of a network of believers, people who believe that our right to this democracy is real, who believe our rights to the Bill of Rights is real, who believe our right to progress, to healthcare as a right, to affordable housing, to justice, to an environment that actually lets us breathe, and to a future that lets us dream. CLEO, every day you stand in the gap and you give people an opportunity to dream a little freer, to breathe a little more, and to believe that more is possible. It is with my deepest appreciation that I say thank you. I say thank you to Vernon Jordan, who took me under his wing a few years ago and hopefully will never let me go, and to the CLEO family for having me as a part of you. Together, we will get this done. We have done it before, we will do it again, because the future is ours. Thank you so much.